No matter how full my closet gets, I swear I have nothing that I want to wear, which is why I'm super grateful for Armoire, because with their clothing rental membership, I get to have access to high quality, unique brands tailored just for me. All I had to do was take a 5-minute style quiz, and it was scary accurate with how much they knew my style, and by some kind of magic, it was delivered at my door within 2 days. If I want to try something new or swap out styles, I just send it. No laundry required. Best thing. Armoire is great for so many reasons. It can help define your personal style. It's super spot on. And also it's sustainable because I don't have to feel bad about if I wear an outfit one time and I just want to try something new. I can rent things, try them out, and keep swapping and not have to worry about waste. Plus, you're always going to have something to wear without hassle or clutter in your closet, which is what I really relate to. And no matter what occasion you have, whether it's a date or a work conference or a black tie event, you'll be the best dressed person in the room without even stepping a foot into the fitting room. This is fantastic because I've literally bought an entire outfit before just to go to one party. Armoire can also help if your body is changing, whether that's a fitness journey or during pregnancy. I know I've recommended this to a lot of the new moms that I know in my life, because your body's changing and you want to feel great and amazing. And one of my favorite things is that Armoire is women owned and led. They even spotlight women owned designers on their website. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That is up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/book talk. That's Armoire, ARMOIRE.style/book talk, BOOKTALK, to get 50% off your first month.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. At Capella University, you can learn at your own pace with our FlexPath learning format. Take 1 or 2 courses at a time and complete as many as you can in a 12-week billing session. With FlexPath, you can even finish the bachelor's degree you started in 22 months for $20,000. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu. Fastest 25% of students. Cost varies by pace, transfer credits, and other factors. Fees apply.
Me. You.
Okay. Well,
hit it.
Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk with Jac and Amy, a literary podcast where we deep dive into the writings of your favorite novels. This spring, we are hosting a book club while we prepare our 10-part literary analysis of Sarah J. Maas's Crown of Midnight.
This is Jac.
And I'm Amy.
And each week, we'll discuss one book from our spring book club roster. By using our literary backgrounds, we'll provide our flash analysis of each book, as well as discuss listener thoughts.
But before we get into our book club content, we're here to discuss listener thoughts about our Throne of Glass season. So this is part 1 of this week's listener thoughts episode.
The views expressed by the hosts are entirely their own and in no way represent the thoughts or intentions of the original author. This podcast is discussion shared to spark thought and conversation on the characters and themes of this novel. The interpretations presented in this podcast are just a few of the many possibilities. Listeners are encouraged to share their thoughts on their own analysis of the text.
Though the hosts speak mostly within the constraints of this book, series and extended universe spoilers may be discussed with or without warning. Explicit language as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, depression, self-harm, and death will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised.
It feels weird to start it now.
I know. All right, but we got all the script stuff out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back. You've been on vacation.
Mm-hmm. Which means you've been on vacation.
Yeah, so I don't know how to record a podcast anymore.
I don't either.
We have a podcast? What?
I forgot it existed.
A la Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So today, though, last week we wrapped up Throne of Glass.
Mm-hmm.
The last episode came out. And we've been asking everyone to give us their thoughts, which in theory we would have been adding to the broomstick section, but whatevs. Live, laugh, love, make mistakes. And it was, so now we've been, we're here to discuss your thoughts. Listener, that's you. Oh my God, it's you guys. Hey. If you submitted, if you haven't and you're just a passive listener, you're special too.
You're special too. Hopefully you have some of the same thoughts. So we've collected thoughts not only on our Instagram stories feed, but also listener thoughts submitted through the form on our website that we've received throughout the season. So we're going to be
through DMs.
And through DMs.
We're going to go through, I haven't talked to you about this, but I want to go through the hierarchy. First, the people who submitted it through the form. They go through the form, and then DMs, and then people sending it on stickers or whatever on stories. It's the ranking is based off of how hard is it for me to save this information.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's easier to save what we receive through stickers on stories because you know when it's coming.
Yeah, but then I have 24 hours and then I go past 24 hours and then I have to go searching for it and be like, shit, I have to. Basically, we're curmudgeons who can't handle people submitting things to us. We're grateful, guys. We are grateful, I swear.
We are so grateful. This is just what happens when you've been doing this for 3 years and you both have full-time jobs.
And we don't know what's the best route.
we don't have time to figure that out.
No. And yet you guys still listen, so thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the emails? Would you like to pull up an email?
Sure, I would love to pull up an email.
I'll just sit here.
All right. This is from Jill, who is responding to chapters 27 through 31 of our Throne of Glass season. Jill says, I am super loving this season. Please keep up the fantastic work. I don't really have anyone else to discuss this stuff with, so I'm going to keep sending in thoughts to you guys. Last week, it was discussed how Celaena had won the potions trial, but she ends up winning through cheating and almost brushes it off because she just feels like she won and it doesn't really matter how she won. At least in the moment, she feels that way. So it's very interesting how at the end she gets poisoned by Kaltain and doesn't realize it. I felt like in that moment, it really highlighted how much more insight and growing Celaena has to do. Because although she acknowledged that she won the trial through cheating, if she had acknowledged she could work on her skill set so that she wouldn't have to cheat in the end, she might not have been poisoned in the end. Love the show. I recommended it to anybody who reads fantasy or romantasy because you guys do a fantastic job.
Thank you. I wonder if that's the episode where we begged for affirmations. Thank you. That's a really good point though, because I think that's an example of Celaena just showing her age.
Yeah.
Because had she been willing to learn and be like, hey, maybe I should learn about poisons more, the one that I couldn't remember.
Right. Well, or ask, what was his name? Peller?
Yeah.
Peller helped you cheat, but ask Peller how he figured out what the poison was.
Yeah. That will be useful information later as we find out. But in general, I think I would want to know, how the hell could you figure that out?
Right. And I guess to not ask the question protects her ego. But he already knows that he helped you.
Yeah, but so then it's admitting extra. Then it's extra admitting that hey, yes, I did not actually know what was going on. And I like this idea though that Jill brings up where there's a certain dismissiveness about it.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I think that is the folly of youth. You were saying, Jack, that maybe if she was, I don't know, 25, she would have been let's circle back and ask this question because this might come in handy later.
I'm trying to think if I would have asked, because as someone who is clearly 25, what I would have done. Yeah, I think I would ask to know just because I'd be more how the hell did you figure that out?
Yeah, but you don't have the same kind of pompous ego that Celaena does at 18.
I am wrong very often, so if I'm not willing to ask questions, I'll never know how to say edamame.
I'm so proud of you.
I think about it every time. I have to stop and pause and inhale.
It's okay. I have to do that for a lot of other words.
Yay!
Posthumous.
Why? I like how mine is just edamame and yours is posthumous. Just this grand fancy word. Oh my, let me get to my tea out. I don't know why you have tea, but a red carpet so you could say your fancy word. Did I say it right? Posthumous?
Yeah. Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I have a general idea. That I'll look up later.
Post-death. So Heath Ledger getting a posthumous award for his portrayal in Dark Knight.
All right, so that was in fact not what I was thinking.
Okay.
And this is why we shouldn't be Celaena, guys, and be willing to ask. Although I was leaning towards being like Celaena and not asking.
We're going to ask.
I was judging her. I'm like, well, you should be willing to grow. I'm just going to continue this. I'll pretend like I know entirely. You guys, I am 25. Wow.
Or 18.
One of the two.
Thanks, Jill. I think that's a great thought. I'm so glad that you brought it up.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next one before there's more words I don't know.
All right. Another listener thought from the website. So this is from Katie, who says, I just wanted to let you know that Sam and Chaol are described very similarly. So that might also be why Celaena chose Chaol over Dorian, including all of the examples that you talked about in your podcast. Interesting. So we've talked a lot about Chaol being like Arobin.
Yeah.
But maybe there are also qualities that Chaol has that mirror Sam. And maybe that's why Celaena never talks about Sam to Chaol.
Well, didn't she say like looks-wise? Or did she say looks or characteristics?
Oh, yeah. I guess it's looks here as well.
Yeah. I'll stick to my opinion that I'm willing to change. That Chaol and Arobin are similar, maybe not personalities, but like drive and representation. I can totally see Chaol and Sam looking the same. Like, you can have a type. That's all right.
Yeah. Why did I think Sam was blonde?
I don't know.
That's
Rowan.
I know. That's why I'm like, what's wrong with me? It's been too long.
So many questions.
Oh, geez. This next comment is from Olga, who sent this. I've been thinking about Dorian and how you ask this question of whether he wants a connection with Celaena or control over her. I personally think that it's one through the other. He feels very different from his family. His father, aka the king, doesn't love his son. His brother is a little menace, and his mother, I don't remember exactly here, just seems to not care about him. Of course, he wants a genuine emotional connection with someone, but with his father figure that he has, all he's ever known is control. The king controls Dorian through handling him as a breeding horse, and later, spoiler warning, through killing his lover, and as well as the fact that he's literally in control of an empire that Dorian grew up in. I think it makes sense that Chaol, Dorian's friend, is lower in the ranks than the prince, and is trying to form a bond with Celaena through exertion of control over her. So I think what Olga's saying here is like all Dorian has known his entire life is relationships through power dynamics. And even his friend Chaol is his subject. And so he does dictate to Chaol a lot in terms of orders. Yeah. So it's not surprising then that though he's trying to develop a connection with Celaena, it's only through control that he knows how to form that connection.
It's a very good point.
It is a very, very good point.
Why would we expect him to know how to love or express anything differently? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it would be an insult. I don't know if that's like a really dramatic statement there, but it would almost be, it's an unrealistic expectation to think Dorian could come and appreciate someone entirely and to like know how to value someone. We've had time and time again, people point out that in book 2, Dorian tells Chaol, you can't pick and choose what you love about Celaena. You have to love all of her. Something along those lines. And people like to point that out because we're like, Dorian doesn't love her. Well, that's book 2. Babe's like, well, we'll get there. But it's what I want to point out with that is I think that this loss of control of Celaena is what then teaches him to love.
I agree. Because all Dorian has seen are parents who are supposed to love him. Society teaches him that his parents love him. But all they want to do is dictate how his life is supposed to go.
Yep.
And his best friend, Chaol, still submits himself to Dorian's orders. Yeah, he talks back sometimes, but at the end of the day, Chaol has to obey.
Yeah.
And so it's not until Celaena comes around where Dorian is actually challenged that Dorian can actually learn what it means to have an emotional connection with someone and not control them.
And to, like, live and let live, like, let go of her.
Yeah.
And her having the ultimate control of herself and choosing not to be with him is that final step that gets him over to the, like, oh shit, maybe I should do, like, this is love, right? Like,
Yeah.
not being able to control. I actually think that he will genuinely love, I mean, having not done the analysis, but I think he'll have genuinely learned what love is in the second book by not being able to do anything, be with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But to their point, because he can't control.
Right. Yep.
Lovely. Oh, let's see. This is from, shit, I can't see who it's from because when I took the screenshot, there was an email notification covering up their username, but you'll know who I'm talking about when I read your comment. So this came up after we were talking about, like, the goddess's firstborn, and we were kind of like, where did that come from? And they say, just up to the bit about the goddess's firstborn son, and y'all, what if the cauldron is also, spoilers for this episode, I think that's like everything is up for grabs.
Yeah.
The whole verse.
Yes, I agree.
Y'all, what if the cauldron is not the physical cauldron, but a Da Vinci Code style metaphor for a womb?
Yeah, could definitely be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many links between, we talked about the mother, right? And how this mother of Throne of Glass is probably the same mother of ACOTAR world. And now when you compare that and you know that the cauldron creates life and that the cauldron is in control by the mother, then yeah, the cauldron is the womb.
Yeah. Yep.
And
from which Elena and Nesta, the Fae versions, were born.
Yeah. So you might even be able to ask yourself, was this goddess's firstborn son even born from her or from this cauldron? The metaphorical womb.
Yes. I believe it.
I love that. Okay. Okay. This is from Allie. Hi, my take on Nehemia naming Celaena, because you asked for different perspectives, is that Nehemia knows nameless is my price, and it's her attempt to save Aelin from her ultimate fate/sacrifice by giving her an official name while touching the nameless mark on her brow. Maybe you didn't share it because it's a spoiler past book 3, but I literally only realized it on my 6th reread. It always felt kinda corny and cringy to me, then it finally clicked and I sobbed.
Oh. Yeah, no, I remember when you saved that in our shared folder, I read it and I was like, oh, that's really brilliant, but also requires you to remember the end of the series, which I don't very well.
But I know, like, when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is nameless is my price? And then I had to look that up and I was like, oh, right, I forgot about that. But I mean, that's why we have listeners that are smarter than us so that they can tell us what's going on, because that is a good freaking point of, yeah, it was bugging me that I'm like, why are we naming people? We shouldn't name people other than me and naming people. But like, I do like this quite a bit where Nehemia did this in order to save Aelin, especially since she was touching her forehead where the mark is.
Yeah. And I think it's a nice, whether it was always in the cards, always planned by SJM or not, it's a nice way to bring back that moment and bring back Nehemia. And her role in Aelin's story.
Yep. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I'm kind of happy that people point those out for us.
And have read the series more frequently than we have.
Yeah. Okay. This is from Ray. And this is titled, I mean, it's on DMs, but they started it with #carpool thoughts. One of the things I've been thinking about when we see the poor female friendship development is Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. The build of male friendship is surface at best, and individuals are looked at as archetypes. So I'll admit I suck at the spotting these misses because I'm not often seeing them, especially after being raised on Pern, Valdemar, Star Wars, Dragonlance. I'm a month behind, so I'm hearing a bunch about how not great SJM female friendship writing starts as, which, yeah, they're smart. Amy, can you describe the hero's journey, please?
Sure. Hero's journey is kind of like what the 5-act play is to playwrights. The hero's journey is to novel writers or story writers in general. So if you look at, I think the one I'm most familiar with is Star Wars.
Yeah.
If you look at A New Hope, that is a classic hero's journey story that follows the different archetypes and the different phases of the journey. So the hero being presented with the new world, rejecting the new world, then being forced into it. And there's all these different like phases that they go through, meeting the sage, meeting the father figure, et cetera, et cetera. I love what Ray is saying because the hero's journey does, in fact, really just focus on the hero. Relationships are very superficial because they only serve a purpose to help the hero make their cycle through the journey. So it makes sense that if SJM is following the same hero's journey kind of archetype, that the relationships Celaena develops throughout that journey, and the journey being a single novel, that journey, they're not going to be super developed because it's about the hero developing and passing through the phases of the journey.
This is where my brain is like wishing that I was back in college, because I'm like, this is an essay right here, because I'm sure people have already written the hero's journey versus the heroine's journey, because the hero's journey definitely has that surface level friendship. You know, you don't get deep, like Star Wars, right? Luke and Han.
Yeah.
Like they're not having late night talks versus, and that's a very, unfortunately, guys don't always have these really deep connections with other men. They should, but that's like kind of a part of the loneliness epidemic men are experiencing right now, versus women are very into like, tell me what you ate today and let's analyze that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and how much is it because our media, literature and our media follow this hero's journey that does not promote relationships.
Yeah.
If the hero's journey archetype took time to delve into relationships, and that was upon which all our media was based, then men would actually maybe have an example of how to develop relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also making me really reflect on all of the romantasies that I have read, where it doesn't always, and I'm doing a very general collection in my head of everything, right? Start off as the hero's journey, like when it's like it is women imitating the men's hero's journey, and how that doesn't always feel authentic, because I know everyone doesn't have that one female friendship. I know that's a very like general privileged thing for me to say, but I think that there's this camaraderie amongst women. You know, you go into a bathroom stall and all of a sudden, you know, everyone's like, you're the best, right? And
that's a bathroom, not a bathroom stall. I would be concerned.
No, I said it. I said it. Just wait till it's your wedding day and I get to hold your dress while you pee. Camaraderie right there.
Yeah.
But there is like an element of like, we'll call it quote unquote womanhood, right? And it's a very shared, intimate experience there. And anyone identifying as a woman, like it's like a very welcoming, in my opinion, group. Now, again, nuanced, and there's a lot of other like things within it here. But I'm trying to think of a book that we've read mutually that would start off separate from it. Because if you think about Quicksilver, if you think about Spark of the Everflame, you have that similar male hero's journey. You think of one that's different, is the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Guild. And that focuses, even though Alwyn doesn't have any female friends, but the narrative is so a lot of Arwen. Oh,
Arwen.
Oh, I remember that now. Arwen doesn't have a lot of female friends, but that's kind of like the narrative, and one of the focal points around it is the fact that she's craving this, and part of her initial journey is getting that female friendship and connection. So, which is kind of funny because I always imagined Guild as being so different from other books, and that's now I'm wondering now. And I mean, as someone who's writing their own romantasy, I'm like, gosh, damn, I'm doing the same thing. We're following so now I want to look into what is the heroine's journey. Now I want to look into it. I'm sure someone's written a paper on it.
Oh, I'm sure there are papers written on it. It would be very interesting to look at, though, and see what are the ways it differs, and how often are women inherently mimicking the hero's journey because that's what we consume in media, versus trying to conceptualize a heroine's journey.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at my books, trying to think of all of them. Yeah. A lot of them follow that pattern.
Because that's what we recognize. I mean, that's what we're taught.
They say there's only like 7 stories, right, ever told.
Right.
And it's just like a repurposing of all of them, which is fair. You can still have that, but you can have a restructuring to get there. All right. I'm gonna things for me to think about and look up later after this. It's going to consume me for a long time.
I think so. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it in your eyes.
Amy, what's that?
An ad break.
We'll be right back.
Nice. Jac, I think your mermaid dreams are finally coming true.
I've definitely seen improved growth in my hair, and that's probably because I have been very committed to my Nutrafol. I'm loving these results.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol's supplements support visibly thicker, stronger hair from within by targeting root causes of thinning, including stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism as they evolve throughout a woman's life. And let me tell you, I am at that stressful stage of my life where I need this extra support.
I need support mentally, physically, emotionally, and hairly. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests their final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol women hair growth supplements for 6 months.
So start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code BOOKTALK.
Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code BOOKTALK. That's BOOKTALK.
That's Nutrafol.com, promo code BOOKTALK.
Amy, you know when you're done reading a really good book and you just have an itch to scratch? You have a trope, a theme, a genre, something that you just really want to get another good story. Fortunately, with Galatea, you have over 1,000 stories to choose from shifter romance to sci-fi, from thrillers to bad boy billionaires, forbidden love, werewolf series, alpha fantasy, rom-coms, and so much more.
Galatea is a reading app where modern book lovers can dive into a library of immersive stories with sound effects, vibrations, and real-time pacing that adapts to your reading speed. Every scene comes alive.
Galatea is home to original series and standalone stories with an exclusive catalog of best-selling authors, and new chapters drop daily. So there's always something new to explore.
Over 30 million people have already made Galatea their go-to. Join now to escape the ordinary and indulge in stories that make you feel everything.
Right now, Galatea is offering our listeners an extra 25% off on top of an already irresistibly affordable subscription when you go to galatea.com/booktalk.
That's GALATEA.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK to indulge in unlimited stories for even less. Galatea.com/booktalk.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mistints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
All right. You have any more?
Yes, but I'll do more. Okay. Yeah.
One more, and then I can go back to emails that I have.
Okay.
Please proceed.
This is from Lauren. Chaol observing Celaena looking like an animal when they see the king is interesting too, because fae are described with very animal-like characteristics, particularly in this universe. And also, animals are generally the first to react to danger or when something is off. So it's another indication that she is right to be afraid of him and that her reaction is more than personal. She also says that she thinks that we're funny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I need that reassurance because Jack doesn't always laugh at my jokes.
Somebody was going through old episodes.
Yeah, no, that is an excellent point.
Yeah.
The fact that a lot of the Fae are shifters in this world and therefore have an animal form maybe is supposed to be a clue that Celaena is in fact Fae, but also, you know, this idea that we have that animals react to earthquakes before they happen or other such phenomena makes sense then that I keep wanting to say Aelin. Celaena's reaction to the king is therefore an indication of not only primal terror on her part because of her history, but primal terror because of what he truly is.
Yeah. So many levels to that I want to unpack here. The first one being like, yeah, absolutely, you know, the Fae in this world and Akatar world and everything else, like they growl, they're, you know, they have mates. There is an animal predatory like element to it. So of course there would be animal reactions to this. What I also love is that it's always Chaol who compares her to an animal. Now, I know we talk about Dorian and metaphorically, you know, she is his dog type thing, but like he never compares her to an animal. It's really Chaol who does that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's scared like an animal. She's aggressive like an animal. And we have continuously said that in season 1 of Throne of Glass, he's always not wrong about her. He doubts her. He questions her. He thinks that she's a danger. She thinks that she's a flight risk. And technically he's not wrong about any of those things, right?
Yeah.
She is a danger. She is a flight risk. She knows how the hell to get out. So here it is again, where he's comparing her to an animal. And it's like, technically not wrong.
Yeah. But at the same time, because he's the one that compares her to an animal, I personally am more likely to be like, well, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Because you're dehumanizing her.
Completely.
Right? Even though she's Fae, even though she's going to have animal like characteristics, he doesn't know that. Yeah. And to make her an animal is to dehumanize her and to devalue her as well.
Yeah. And it's going to give the prelude, or kind of clues as to like how he will not ever be able to accept her of that, like that side of her, right?
Yep.
Well, good job, listeners.
We have another comment from Olga that we received via email. This is related to chapters 7 through 10 of Throne of Glass. She says, I wonder how much of Celaena's dislike of Kaltain comes from jealousy. Now, Celaena could have grown up in a royal court, but that right was stripped away from her. Celaena also values beauty, including her own appearance and femininity, which has also been stripped of her. She was in the mines, she was viewed as a tool for the Empire, and before that she was an assassin, which is not necessarily a very quote-unquote feminine job. And even now in the court, Celaena doesn't really have a say in her appearance because all of the clothes are chosen for her, and as we recall, they weren't quite to her liking. So now, Celaena sees this other woman, Kaltain, who's wearing very fancy dresses, who has probably chosen her outfits herself, who fits in with the royal court and knows how to behave. It makes me wonder how much this image awakens the thoughts in Celaena that Kaltain is everything she could have been if not for the King of Adarlan. I think that's an excellent point and really explains what we describe as really stupid, for lack of a better word, just like irrational dislike that Celaena has of Kaltain.
Yeah, like we knew there was a jealousy thing happening there, but it was like, what the hell? Like, where is this pettiness? Like this petty jealousy? And this listener very clearly had like more well thought out thoughts than us, where it's like, oh, well, because there's always a reason to an emotion. As my therapist loves to say, old therapist, I miss you, Esther, used to say, although like several of my friends see her now, and I left a video message through Randall to give to her.
Oh,
anyway, she used to tell me anger's not an emotion. It comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing where it's like, you know, jealousy, that's maybe not an emotion. Where does it come from? Right. And we did not question that.
Yeah.
And that's on us. And that, because this is a great freaking point.
Yeah, it is a great point. My psychiatrist says anger is a secondary emotion.
That's what it was. Secondary, not a fake emotion, secondary emotion. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen Esther. So,
so you're bound to get it wrong.
Yeah. Secondary emotion.
Secondary.
So, and the same thing with jealousy, right? Secondary.
Yep. It always stems from something else. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been appreciating more comments we've been getting of hashtag justice for Kaltain.
Good.
Yeah. More people will get the occasional DM or comment where it's like, I can see what episode you made it to. Hashtag justice for Kaltain. Although I posted one of my videos on one of our videos on TikTok, and then someone, I don't know if they were a listener or not, but someone commented, because I talked about like, she's possessed, like leave the girl alone. And someone commented, she's not possessed, her emotions are being manipulated. And I was like, all right, semantics. It's
the same thing.
Yeah. You telling me that anyone possessed has their emotions intact?
To me, at the end of the day, she's not in control of her faculties. Whether she is possessed or her emotions are being manipulated, she's not in control.
Yeah.
She can't be blamed for something that she's not in control of.
Absolutely. Yeah. It cracks me up how there are some people who definitely aren't a fan of our soft-heartedness for Kaltain. I mean, like, we don't think she's perfect. Like, she didn't come into this like wonderful, innocent young woman.
Right. She's far from perfect. However, I would hope someone would have empathy for me if my emotions were being manipulated.
It's like the term of there's no such thing as a perfect victim, and society cannot handle when a woman is less than a perfect victim. I'm gonna fucking throw this out. Amber Heard, she was not a perfect victim, and yet people were shitting on her. And it's like, when his defense was literally based on the fact that what she said was true. Sorry, I'm throwing that out there. Anyway, but it's like, whether it's Amber Heard or anyone else, there's like, we really struggle with this idea that if a woman is not absolutely, she didn't fight off completely, or she didn't look a certain way, or she might not have had the job that you want. If she is not this perfect victim, then society is very quick to harp on her.
Yeah, I was just watching the new Netflix documentary on the Long Island killer, the serial killer, and the Gilgo Beach murders, and how nobody paid attention for years because they were prostitutes.
They were sex workers.
And so we see it in our society all the time. That if you are female and a victim, you better look a certain way, otherwise we're not paying attention.
I mean, and it just keeps going. Like, we just can't keep not giving women a break, right? If what were they wearing? Were they drunk? How drunk were they? Oh my God. The concept of, she was drunk, so she wasn't prepared or didn't take care of herself. Such bullshit.
Yeah. It's the man was drunk, so we're not going to hold him accountable, but the woman was drunk, so therefore she's to blame.
Blamed. Right? Yeah. Explain that to me, society, to our 98% female listeners who probably already agree with us. Explain that. Did you know, I think in France, there's like I think it's called like Blue Jeans Day or Jeans Day. And it's because a while ago, maybe a decade or so ago, there was a judge in France who said that the woman was not raped because she was wearing jeans. And that would have taken too long to get them off in order for her to have been raped. So women wear jeans like on that day.
That makes so much more sense, because I worked at a university once where during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, you could pay $5 to have a sticker and wear jeans to the office.
Nice.
And you wore the sticker and it's like, sexual assault awareness, and you wore jeans. So now that connection makes so much more sense.
Without context, you're like, this was a really weird fashion choice for awareness. This is would never have chosen.
No, I mean, I wanted to wear jeans, so I always paid.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the connection makes more sense to me.
Oh my God. We all learned today.
More than a decade later.
I learned about posthumous and you learned about jeans.
Well, because posthumous is spelled posthumous. That's why I always struggled to say it out loud.
I wasn't even judging about how you say it. I was judging about how I didn't know.
No. I know. I'm just justifying my difficulty with saying it.
Wait, are you justifying it because of how easily it rolled off my tongue?
Yes. I can guarantee if you read it, you would have the same problem I do.
I barely read your text messages.
It's true.
I don't even read them correctly. I need to get better at that. I need to stop skimming.
It's okay.
Okay,
I'll just start quizzing you. So do you?
No. I'm trying to think what I need. How is it that you can cater to me better? That's no, I know. I was joking. Cause the answer is I need to do better.
I have, I skim your text too sometimes and you're like, I sent you this. And I'm like, I don't remember. But
I know it feels good on those days. It's just constantly when the other one like forgets something or like marginally doesn't do what they're supposed to. It's like, yes, it's their turn now.
Oh, for those of our listeners who appreciated our Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference when we discussed chapters 16 through 22, one of our listeners, Erica, says she highly recommends the podcast Buffering the Vampire Slayer, which is an excellent title.
That's funny.
Apparently it's incredible. And she also says, love you guys. Your podcast brings me so much joy. I have to see if Nicole knows this podcast. Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
Should I just text her now? No. It's because I have my phone out and we never have our phones out for recording, but I have my phone out because of screenshots. Okay. This is from Jessica. I have a non-daddy issue related comment. And this is funny because like every single time we would talk about like daddy issues on a podcast, she'd just be like, you're targeting me. The fun thing, Jessica, is that a lot of people felt targeted in those episodes. A lot of people reached out and was like, that wasn't cool. She says, have we talked about SJM choosing opium specifically rather than some other type of drug? Opium is used by colonizers. Clap emojis. Also, the hot cocoa at the dinner. I noticed that in movies, villains end up drinking milk, and it's supposed to be unsettling because it's supposed to be a wholesome, childlike drink being corrupted by the bad guy. Is the cocoa supposed to have a similar effect? Not necessarily naming that guy as the villain, but making us feel off about these adult, icky guys sipping on something because that should be unequivocally positive. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That is such a great point. The first thing I thought of was Get Out. At the end of Get Out, the female villain is like putting up her ponytail and then drinking a glass of milk out of a straw.
Creepy.
It's very creepy. And I love this idea that it's to make us uncomfortable that these villains are doing something that we view as something a wholesome person would do, right? We assume villains are smoking pipes and drinking alcohol and doing dirty deeds, not things that we would associate with a child.
I think it shows that they're not lactose intolerant, and that's
the true evil.
That's the true evil, that they get to live their life without any kind of bloating or pain. Monsters. Yeah. I love it. I love that it's so unsettling. It was also, it's just very unsettling to have these like grown ass men drink hot chocolate. It also goes back to our theory that men don't eat desserts publicly. If you haven't heard this theory because you're not in our friend group, let me tell you. It came out of this summer where I was trying to find a bunch of like Copa America like bars, right? And there was a bunch of I went to a bunch of sports bars this summer, and they did not have dessert menus. And they were like, I had to ask for a pup cup. Like I literally would go to the bartender. I was like, can you like? It was like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any drinks. I'm like, yeah, but you can make like a blowjob shot, can't you? With the whipped cream? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, can you hold the shot?
And just give me the whipped cream.
Yeah. So they would give me pup cups. And the theory that came from that is that men aren't comfortable eating desserts without women. Or on their own or with a group of men. Now, there might be some guys that, have broken through and they're able to order desserts. But, when you think of
one such being our friend's father, who makes his male coworkers eat dessert.
But with the male coworkers, and it takes a minute for them to be like, so do we get a dessert?
Yeah.
And but it comes, so now I'm wondering if part of the uncanniness about it is like, well, men don't get desserts. They don't, even though they have their sweet tooth and they love they love their sweets, but there's a certain amount of like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's what little girl. I mean, I get a hot chocolate, but like I
But
understand.
we're little girls. We're baby
we're
girls.
little.
We're girls.
We're petite little women.
Yeah. Thank you for throwing in petite. But it's true. I mean, it's like, we're just, not to be the cringy millennial, but like, small girl. And I'm not going to say it in the cringy millennial way, but it's like, I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's our drink.
Yeah.
Don't get to colonize my drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, you sick bastard.
I do appreciate the reference to colonization and the use of opium, because that's what we saw in the Opium Wars with England and basically everybody else, but especially the Chinese, especially, parts of Asia. And we know that SJM was a history major in college. So I'm sure she's using her knowledge of history and applying it here.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love the call out to colonization, because that is such a direct link. And the fact that it's Kaltain who is feeling the effects of the metaphorical colonization representation, I think also speaks volumes that she is a victim in this as everyone else.
Right. She is just a person of court trying to elevate their position, trying to mean something. And so she is the perfect symbol of a naive courtier being colonized by the ultimate bad.
Yeah.
For their purpose.
Or you can even say that she's like a naive courtier who's part of the colonizers, but there are victims within that too, for the people who don't have a say and who aren't able to push back in their own government. As someone who's in who is currently in a government who I don't get a fucking say in what bullshit they're doing, I can understand what it's like to be like, this isn't me. I'm not.
Yeah. They don't represent me. Yeah,
I had lunch with an author yesterday, and she's from France, lives in England, and I was like, this isn't me. This isn't my, don't judge me. I didn't vote for this shit.
I thought she was Canadian.
She moved to France when she was 3.
Okay. That's right.
But
basically,
I forgot all of it.
She is not American.
Very not American. And I was like, this isn't me. We are Kaltain. But I don't want to be Kaltain. No, thank you. I don't like it.
Because she has a horrible death.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jac and Amy. Stick around for part 2, which airs on Thursday.
We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. If you would like to submit your take on any of the books we plan to discuss later this spring, please be sure to follow us on Instagram, where we ask for listener thoughts and submissions.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk. Bye. Oh yeah, how much was my my sunscreen?
I'll double check. It was like maybe $12 each. I'll double
check, because that was the one of like, I shall buy these. These are my purchases.
Yeah, I'll do I know what the Korean won is, but I need to check the the conversion.
I want you to know. I know that you know that I know that I'm buying those.
$23.98.
Total or each?
Total.
$23.28.
$23.98.
98 cents. Trying to lowball you. $23.98. I shall make that 24.
Oh, thank you for the extra 2 cents.
The 2 cents is your charge for bringing them.
The cost of adding them to my luggage.
Yeah. Oh, it won't let me send you that note. Apparently my note for what I was sending was too obscene.
What is it? What was it?
Thanks, sugar tits. That's really rude. Wow, Venmo, do better.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.
Amy, you know when you're done reading a really good book and you just have an itch to scratch? You have a trope, a theme, a genre, something that you just really want to get another good story. Fortunately, with Galatea, you have over 1,000 stories to choose from shifter romance to sci-fi, from thrillers to bad boy billionaires, forbidden love, werewolf series, alpha fantasy, rom-coms, and so much more.
Galatea is a reading app where modern book lovers can dive into a library of immersive stories with sound effects, vibrations, and real-time pacing that adapts to your reading speed. Every scene comes alive.
Galatea is home to original series and standalone stories with an exclusive catalog of best-selling authors, and new chapters drop daily. So there's always something new to explore.
Over 30 million people have already made Galatea their go-to. Join now to escape the ordinary and indulge in stories that make you feel everything.
Right now, Galatea is offering our listeners an extra 25% off on top of an already irresistibly affordable subscription when you go to galatea.com/booktalk.
That's GALATEA.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK to indulge in unlimited stories for even less. Galatea.com/booktalk.